Good afternoon, and this is another fuseboard video. Put another fuseboard in. I've got an answer to some of the questions that I've fielded recently. There has been a noticed drop-off in quality in recent videos, and the reason, I think, is because of just dealing with the time constraints on, and I don't mean just a drop off in quality on the video, there's a perceived drop of quality in the work carried out. That's pretty well down to the time constraints that are laid on me, the subcontracting, which I've just started doing over the last 2 or 3 months, and it's still bedding in and still I wouldn't say there are teething problems still. There's certainly been pretty well ironed out now. Working on NAPIT software, actually going onto the NAPIT software from the EIC way of filling out stuff. For ages I was missing dates, and there was plenty that I was missing. So it has taken me quite a long time to get my head around that. Also working in a situation where I am taking electronic notes on the actual certificates as I work. I find that really at first made me very stressful. It's very stressful because you're arriving, you're collecting keys from a landlord, you're arriving at the premises to do the work, you're unloading all your tools for 3 or 4 hours, you're there. And then you're having to log on to a personal hotspot online to complete not just NAPIT software, but also a load of Google Sheets for other engineers, so that at the same time you're making notes, you're basically quoting and quoting materials lists that you think will be needed, and a methodology for going about the work. I'd like to say I'm sorry if that's been the case, but I can't say I'm sorry if that's been the case, because it has been the case. It's not if at all. The 4 fuse boards that I put in recently on the last video, I think people are getting steamed up about IP rating. An IP rating, IP4X horizontally and IP2X anywhere else of consumer units. In fact, that comes under the containment clauses for containment, and there is then barriers, obstacles and out of reach. Now, out of reach isn't relevant because we're not talking about that specific basic means of protection, but barriers we are. And the last 2 boards I put in, you'll notice the other 3 boards on that property were IP4X all the way around. They used glands or conduit, and so there's no issue there. The 2 main boards where I did the swept tail whooshy slit and then use trunking on top. I agree that the trunking is actually plastic trunking, and then you've got a slot cut which you saw me cut in the top of the consumer unit. Well, I'd refer to the barriers section of the regs, where if you are not requiring any form of tool or a ladder, i.e. you're not using a tool or a ladder in order to touch the live parts, the fact that you can't reach it fulfills the barrier. So the fact is that those 2 boards, although the IP rating was compromised on the top and it wasn't IP4X, it then had trunking on top of it, so you couldn't get to it, and then a barrier which couldn't be removed without the use of tools. Now, at the end of the video, I do just, I think, point out the fact that the barrier no longer has so much integrity because the boards were smaller, so you could actually fit your hand through there. But actually, without a ladder, you can't reach the trunking or the board. As for fire rating, there is a requirement under the regs for the consumer units now to be of a non-combustible material, but there is no mention of the fact that you have to use fire rated compression glands or anything else on the actual cable entries. And in fact, yeah, there's no mention of that at all. And although it's a nice thing to do, in fact, the smallest possible opening for cable entry is good enough, as long as the cables are protected in the case of movement from chafing on tails and any of the cables there. And I did that using grommet strip. Having put all that aside though, all that whinging and excusing and shaky ground, you know, I feel I'm covered with the regs. Having put all that aside, if I went there with an inspector from NIC, EIC, what would he say? Well, the fact that I think, you know, you've got the plastic trunking covering the openings in, or the opening in the top, that long slot I cut in the top of the consumer unit, I think, you know, I'd be out of the sticky stuff, put it like that. Putting all that aside, I would have liked to have done a better job there. I definitely would have liked to have put cable glands on every single cable, or bushes on there. You know, I would have liked to have done that work in my own time, but the point is that the family are coming back the next day, and the whole of that installation had to be complete that day, and there was no reason why it shouldn't have been. So yeah, it is what it is. As people always say, I don't know what that saying was. I was watching Jordan on Artisan Electrics last night, and he keeps saying it is what it is, and I'm never sure what that is, but I did start using it in 2016. Slightly annoying phrase. So hopefully this video will give you a bit more confidence that my old standards are still applicable. I mean, I think, yes, subcontracting has been an eye-opener. Working for letting agents, doing EICRs by the dozen, you know, 3 a day or two or three a day, it's hard going, and it is hard. And likewise, the remedials, you are getting a lot of stuff out the van and putting a lot of stuff back in the van at the end of it. You're parking on double yellow lines the whole time. You're collecting keys from letting agents. This is a completely different way of working for me, and its stresses do impact on the quality of finish. And obviously I'm trying to mitigate that as much as possible all the time, and that's why I'm giving it a good deal of time, not just a couple of months and saying, oh, stuff it, you know, this isn't for me. I know that I need to give it a lot more time for me to be able to work in that way, and see whether, you know, things are going to come up to scratch. I need to give it a couple of years before I make a decision on that, just because I believe that I will improve, and I will improve my processes and the way I work from my van and the organisation of my van. Things will improve, and but it is a very different way of working. So if you've noticed a drop off in quality, and it's been on the videos where I am doing subcontracting, it's noted. I'm dealing with it as best I can all the time. It is just a new way of working for me, and it's not really fair to compare that work to the work that I take on myself, where I give myself a lot more time and time to do it. So with all that in mind, I hope you enjoy the next few minutes of seeing what I've done at Creative Heart, and I'll take you round and just at the end tell you what's what after the certificate has been issued. I'll find out where the cables are, where the conductors are, and who the conductors belong to. Like I say, I did this yesterday. Pretty proud of it. I'm pretty proud of it. Yay! Look at that extended box. Way. Yes. Needs a brush up, or a sponge and soap. And that goes down to a pump, and 4mm it goes down to a hoist, this hoist, and on the other side of the wall we've got this motherfucker. There we go. And that's what I've done so far today. This is going to go out to the transformer for the underfloor heating. There it goes out there. It comes in from another little Wirex board there, and then all those circuits come down like that. All I've got in here is a drawstring, a pull through for the twin and earth, which is there. And then I get this motherfucker off the ground. Hey, who knows, I might be immune, and I feel great. So quite apart from the fact that we've got to do all the tests for this new board now, another test and everything, one of them, the circuit comes down to here, so we'll take the fuse spur, or the fuse off that, and do an R1, R2 on that. That'll be easy enough. This one is quite easy. I've got this adapter, and I will test for continuity between line and earth by unplugging that and sticking this in, and I will test for continuity between line and neutral and swapping that over, and that will identify the circuits, identify the circuits, identify the circuits. I haven't been updating you, but I've been working quite hard. This is quite difficult. Conduit runs. This is quite difficult conduit runs. And the wiggly one's right there. Wiggly on top of there. And so on. Da 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 dee da 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 dee. Making a lovely video, Fliss.
Are you?
Oh yes, yes, of conduits. And thank you for modelling that for me. Yeah, you're a bit not in the light enough There we are, there's the little rascally little one. There she is. War, the pirate from Captain Pugwash.
That isn't how I speak.
That ain't how I speak, she says, in a country yokel.
Stop it! I feel like I've got the paparazzi.
War. You feel like Princess Diana, do you? Don't worry, you're completely silhouetted against the windows. Can't see any features at all. So look at this mess. Look at all the stuff there is, and I haven't even got my tower out to do all that, which I should have done. Which is awful because it's just been so painful working off that ladder and so dangerous as well and awful. Because I couldn't be buggered to move this out of here. Anyway, so I forgot to show you this. Look, done it! Yay! There. So I've got to do all my tests, all my I've got to do all my insulation resistance, and I've forgotten what else I have to do. R1, R2s, my ZS's. ZS at DB. And the PFC, which will just be the near enough the ZS for the circuit that was there before on here, but we'll do it again because it's a bit shorter now, or longer. I don't know which. Look at all this conduit. So this is all from the fire stuff. That was all 25. And that was all quite fiddly getting that round there, as you can see. And then it's quite fiddly getting this on here as well. Fiddly, 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 down to here. And of course I'm missing a blank. Ready for testing. Boy, she looks like washwoman Toad Hall now, isn't she?
So don't put down Twinkie.
Madam Twinkle is.
Madam Twinkle. Is that right?
Twinkle? Oh, I don't know about Aladdin. So you're ripping up. I think it's a good idea. If I said to Fliss, it's a good idea to rip up this carpet because it absorbs sound, yes,
Yeah.
but it also absorbs the will to live.
You take inspiration.
Yeah, it absorbs inspiration. It just looks shabby and horrible.
I agree with you, it will look nice.
And apparently Stew Man is the man to do it because it makes him feel butch, she said. Tidying up. I won't say it's the worst job in the world, tidying up, but it's more work than I'd like it to be, put it that way. Okay, so this is the new board, and you see that it has actually got fire integrity built into it because it comes straight out into the conduit here, and then the final circuits go through there, and through the top as well. The final circuits also go through the top there. Well, there is a bit of flexi conduit there. The breakers, they've just got two 6 amp and a 16 amp. I was told to put a 16 C16, but the R1, R2 of that is well over 2, and I think it's about 1.76 it needs for a C16. So we've put a B16 on. The equipment itself has a soft start on the transformer, so it's got a soft start, so it doesn't actually pull too much ampage from the 16 amp. So therefore a C16 isn't required, and a full load when it's working I've measured at 3.57 amps. Unfortunately I managed to short out the thermostat thermostat power terminal with the earth CPC, and that blew the soft start. So now in fact it doesn't turn on at all, and I've got to spend £120 on a new printed circuit board. But that's fine, that's going to be ordered on Monday and be here by the end of next week, and for fitting the following week. So yeah, that's all my containment, and then my containment for the cold tails in the bathroom here. In the bathroom I've still got a bit of sweeping up to do, but the cold tails come in here and then go under the floor. This is a mat, it's a far infrared, so it's not convected heating. And when you put your hand on the floor, it doesn't actually seem to warm up at all, but it radiates far infrared heat into the room and heats your body. I've shown you up there already, and here's this is just a cheapo thermostat, but the drilling is the expensive part. I drilled from about here outside at a diagonal using a long drill to get the thermostat cables up, and thermostat cables go from this Y box here. So thermostat cables come up into here and then through the wall, and altogether I think it's pretty neat installation, and certainly the board is quite neat. It comes off the circuit here for 32 amp. This is a SPD board, which you probably might have seen me fitting. So these are the wet room circuits. Here we are. I'm on a B32 RCBO as well there. So that's today's little video for you. I hope to have something lined up, if not next week, then the week after. I've got a garden install to do, which garden office, which should be quite good for filming. And until then, thank you for your comments. Please keep them coming. I'll try my best with answering any questions, and I'll catch you after the weekend. Cheerio.